I want to share in today's video the biggest pitfall I saw last semester with online learning with my college students. This is Ruth Bomar, your online academic coach. And what I want to, before I tell you what the pitfall was, let me explain what the experience was. Every week, the students receive a packet of information. It'll be a lecture, could be a live lecture, a recorded lecture, other videos, chapters from textbook, articles, websites to read, PowerPoints, interactive apps. So there's this package of information that every student receives every week. And that's the information the student needs to learn for the week. And then the next stage in their experience is announcements. The professor will make announcements about things that the student needs to know, not necessarily about the content, but other things that announcements the professor needs to know, the students need to know from the professor. So the students have to keep up with those announcements, either by email, by some kind of notification, or the website. Now, the next little stage in their weekly experience are the little weekly homeworks. They could be reading quizzes on the PowerPoints. It could be little discussion boards. Sometimes those quizzes are automated, so the student you choose the answer and then you get an automatic feedback to tell you if you got it right or wrong, and you get another chance. And then the next stage is the actual exam. So you have to recap, you have a packet of information, you have announcements from the professor, you have your weekly homework assignments that are little grades, lots of little grades, and then you have a big exam maybe every month or every 3 weeks or however often the professor schedules those big exams. And if they're objective exams where you can't use your notes, you're going to have to actually know the information. So that happens every week, and that happens for all your classes. Now here's a pitfall. Every week my students would open up the package of information and go straight to the weekly assignments and treat it like a Google search, either using Google itself or using that function F key on the documents and just finding the answers to the little questions or quizzes that the students had to complete for that weekly homework. Well, a lot of learning does happen. Some learning can happen that way, but usually it's not enough learning so that you make an A in your exam. So you might be making A's in your weekly quizzes, but bombing the exams. Or not. I had some students last semester I had one student who was bombing her weekly quizzes, and she had to read a PowerPoint and take a quiz every week. And she was making 50s and 60s. And she said, the questions aren't that hard, but I'm still making 50s and 60s. And so what we did is that we looked at the PowerPoint and asked ourselves, what does this professor need me to learn? What does he or she want me to learn from this PowerPoint? And that's the eternal question. What am I supposed to learn in this PowerPoint, in this chapter reading, in this article, in this video? So how do you answer that question? Well, there's 4 different places you can look. One is the syllabus itself. The syllabus itself might have a lecture schedule and actually list week 1, this is the topic. Week 2, this is the topic. So the course syllabus itself might give you some clues as to what you need to learn this week in that material. The other place you can look is the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint in and of itself is an outline of the information for the week. The third place you can look is the lecture itself. If you are fortunate enough to have a professor who actually looks in the camera like I'm doing and delivers a lecture, whether it be live or recorded, then you are golden. Because in that lecture, the professor tells you what is important and what you need to know for the week. The fourth place you can look to answer the question, what's important? What do I need to learn this week? Would be sometimes the professors add a Word document in that packet of information, and they summarize what is important for the week. So there's 4 places you can look to answer the question, what's important? What do I have to learn for the week? The syllabus, the PDF, the PowerPoint, a lecture, the professor's lecture, or maybe a Word document where the professor actually highlights the important parts for the week. Then you have to interact with the material and actually learn the material. You have to sit down and learn. You have to read and learn. Listen and learn. A lot of learning happened when we used to go to the lecture hall, listen to the professor lecture, listen to other students ask questions, go and ask questions after class, go to the office hours and ask questions. That doesn't happen with online learning. So you're going to have to do the learning on your own with the material the professor is sending you. Now, it doesn't mean you can't ask the professor questions. The professor makes a way for you to ask questions, and you need to avail yourself of asking questions with the professor online. It's just a little more difficult, and that's okay. You can do difficult things. So what is the biggest pitfall that I saw last semester? The biggest pitfall is that every week the student jumps straight to the weekly homework assignments and treats it like a Google search. And the information does not get thoroughly learned. And then when the exam comes along, they don't know the information. That's the biggest pitfall. Don't treat your college course like a Google search. You actually have to get involved with the material, read your material, and learn the information. This is Ruth Bomar, your online academic coach, with the biggest pitfall that I saw last semester and with some solutions for it. I think next semester is going to be good.